Talking of, won't somebody think of the children? The I want the legal right to bash my kid because baby Jesus says so lobby group got a new poster pin-up boy this week in the form of a Hawke's Bay father who disciplined his daughter for not going to church by bashing her in the head with a lump of concrete. He says he can't understand what the fuss is and makes me want to start my own citizens' referendum asking the very important question. Should bashing Satan out of your daughter for not going to church as part of good parenting be a criminal offence in New Zealand? I won't even charge $9 million to run it, New Zealand. Swap me a crate and I'll consider us even Stevens. Whānau, we have to move on. Shocking news this week of gay panic, the likes we have never seen. With the downgrading of murder to manslaughter of a visiting tourist homophobe, New Zealand masculinity reasserted its feral, heterosexually paranoid, knuckle-dragging self. Ferdinand Ambich, a Hungarian tourist and devout breeder, was so frightened by Ronald Brown's unwanted sexual advances after agreeing to go home with him after a couple of beers at the pub that he had to kill Ronald Brown by ramming a banjo down his throat. Which, when you think about the mechanics of homosexual sex, seems a wee bit repressed, don't you think? Queer eye for an eye for the defence of a straight guy. Hetero rage, legislated bigotry, call it what you will. But the mere idea of a gay man's sexual interest in a normal male can cause such a panic that killing the homosexual by that normal male is so understandable, we'll toss out that whole murder stigma and reduce it to manslaughter. Now, if every New Zealand woman freaked out and killed a male because of unwanted sexual advances, there wouldn't be any men left in New Zealand. But gay panic is so unblinkingly accepted because of the fear that New Zealand will revert back to its early homosexual gay queer ways. Many don't know this, but New Zealand was actually originally a mass gay South Pacific Club Med paradise, with the country overrun by gay whalers, gay sealers and gay missionaries. Ooh, Aotearoa originally meant land of the long pink cloud. With Nationals election, it's now land of the wrong white crowd. Rugby was initially introduced into New Zealand by the church to prevent homosexuality when the male to female ratio was as low as it is in Gore today, 50 men to every 1 female, 25 of which will be cousins. The idea behind rugby was that it would exhaust the lads' energy so that they burnt up their friskiness. Little did the church realise that the after-match showers were recruiting more to the pink rainbow than a dozen hero parades ever could. Breeder brothers and breeder sisters, isn't it time we stopped allowing our pink brothers and sisters getting treated as if they somehow were responsible for their deaths? Sure, the Judeo-Christian guilt complex on sexual identity is fun for a while, but should it influence our legal system with a defence based on bullshit conservative religious views that are outdated and embarrassing? Don't homophobes get enough as it is by having ACT MP David Garrett represent them without handing over get-out-of-jail-free cards for killing gays? Enough of the news. Let's hand out this week's Wanko of the Week. This week's Wanko of the Week, brothers and sisters, is the decision by the government to effectively allow the dairy industry to write the national water standards for New Zealand. Now, seeing as the dairy industry is one of the largest polluters of waterways in our country, allowing them to set the levels of pollution allowable seems as crazy as letting the pork industry set the national standards for pig welfare. Allowing the industry who is damaging the environment set the cost level of compliance is as ludicrous as letting the Pope set the price for condoms. Here's what tomorrow's glass of water will end up looking like now the dairy industry is setting the water standards. Yummy. Tastes like cow feces. I'll be having that with my folic acid prostate cancer inducing bread, which National are allowing to go through so as not to upset any Australian trade deals. Kiwi men will be getting tumours up their bum for less across Tasman tariffs. Great sacrifice. Good one, National. Finally this week, whānau, the Barack Obama People's Hero of the Week Award. this week, it goes to Barack Obama. The G8 have met, and the usual promises to do something about global warming were turned up in volume this year because Barack Obama is so green. Oh, he's so green, so green. So green, in fact, that 219 US House members who voted for the Waxman-Markey Environment Bill last month did not critically read the 1,400-page American Clean Energy and Security Act of 2009 and see that it's no more fit to rescue our climate than a V-2 rocket was to land on the moon. At least the hyperbole shows how out of step our own climate denial party is. ACT, the tail that owns the dog and tells it when to poop sometimes, has come out and stated a catastrophic 2 degrees rise in temperature would be beneficial for New Zealand, and that CO2 is a misunderstood nutrient. Acted behind the Spanish Inquisition into the Science of Global Warming Select Committee that will be used as a platform for every oil industry funded quack science spin doctor to convince us that man-made pollution has nothing to do with climate change in the exact same way tobacco has nothing to do with lung cancer. On the global media landscape, ACT will make New Zealand look like a bunch of hicks holding a trial to prove the planet is actually held up by 4 elephants standing on a large sea turtle. Carbon dioxide. Environmentalists call it pollution. ACT calls it life. That's it for the show, whānau. Don't forget the conversation continues online at tameki.blogspot.com. Shout outs to Willie Jackson and the Eye to Eye team for TVNZ's drive-by last week that unceremoniously popped a cap in their asses. You are the OG of the political commentary world, Willie Jackson. Much respect. Good night, New Zealand. You stay classy out here, Righto.